يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وإذا أراد الله بقوم سوءا فلا مرد له وما لهم من دون الله من وال. Many people live extreme frustration and disappointment in their life due to the fact that they find themselves in the black hole. They cannot get out of that hole. They feel depressed. They feel not so motivated. They feel losing interest in everything. And they don't know how to get out of that hole, how to change their life. I want to get out of this misery I live in. I want to be a better person. I want to be an impactful person. I hate this life of routine that is taking me nowhere. And I hardly can help myself. I don't like myself, my life, my lifestyle. I don't even like myself sometimes. What do I do? How can I change? And where do I start? Many people ask those questions. So, in order to answer that, I think Islam offers certain solutions to get us out of our black hole, to make us motivated, operational, functional members of the society, and ultimately happy and satisfied in our life. Sometimes, my dear brothers and sisters, we feel we're stuck. We're stuck at certain point. For example, I'm stuck at work. I don't like the job I'm doing. I don't like my higher ups. And I'm fed up, but I don't know what to do. Some people feel this frustration on their marital life. I don't like my husband. I don't like my wife. No, don't say Ya Allah Hajj. This is a reality. This is a reality. Some people just are good at making a show. They look as happy couple, but in fact they live miserable life. What do I do about this? I'm going to speak in details about this. Sometimes we have an issue with our parents. Our relationship could be toxic with our parents or with our children. I have kids who are unappreciative, ungrateful. No matter what I do, they are not happy. I remember a parent telling me that my kids look at me as a cash cow, ATM machine. Only when they need money and cash they come to me. Other than that, they don't remember me. They have nothing to do with me. They don't ask me about their daily life challenges. Only when they need cash, they pick up the phone and call me. And I don't like that. So, how do we solve those issues? How do I get out of this toxic relationship, toxic lifestyle? How do I bring change into my life? Where do I start? The first thing, my dear brothers and sisters, we need to keep in mind is that You should not give up into pressures surrounding your life. Meaning, no matter how powerful the pressures are, you need to be more powerful. You need to be able to resist the pressure and not to give in. Let me give you an example. I have a friend who would see me once in a while and he complains about his job, his work environment. He says, Sayyid, my boss is abusive. He's not good with me at all. And every day when I go to work, I go while I feel I'm going to a battlefield, to a war zone. I need you to teach me a dua to make my life, easier. To make my boss have his heart soften for me. I was helping him with some du'as and some supplications, but in the end, one day I told him, you know what? Why don't you put an end for this? He says, how? I said, don't give in to the pressure. Say it, but how I stop giving up into the pressure? I said, very simple. Change your job. Go find another job. No, Sayyid, that's difficult. I said, that's not difficult. What is difficult is the fear, the paranoia you have in your mind. Go find another job. The fact that you are afraid to change your status quo is the biggest challenge for you. When we are afraid to change the status quo, to challenge the status quo, to say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not going to put up with this pressure. This is not good for my health. This is not good for my well-being. This is not good for my sanity. I'm going to change. Then you will find everything easy. So go and change. Change your job. You live in a country where you may find plenty of job opportunities, maybe with not same pay and salary, but that's fine. If that buys you some peace of mind, let it be. So after a while, I saw him. He says, Sayyid, I changed my job. I feel very, very happy now. And I got rid of the pressure mounting on me. I give you another example. A lady would come once in a while to my office and complain about her abusive husband. And what do I tell her? I would counsel patience. Be patient. Ma'le. Tawli balik. You have kids. Inshallah, Allah will reward you. So, but those words would serve only like a painkiller for 1, 2, 3 months, and then she's back into my office complaining about her abusive husband. And one day I told her, do you allow me to talk to your husband? She says, no. No, Sayyid, don't talk to her. I said, why? She says, because I'm afraid he will come home and retaliate and make a big deal. I said, look, if you are that afraid of your husband, that if I go and talk to him and counsel, sanity for him, then don't come to me. Don't come to me anymore. If you can't help yourself that much, I can't help you anymore. They say, in English, they say you can take a horse to the river, but you can't make him drink. So if you are unable to stop your husband's abusive style up to that much, that if I go and talk to him, you are afraid of him, then what kind of life this is? So finally, one day I told her, you know what? I was counseling you to be patient. I would advise you to reconcile. Tell you, Go and get divorced. For a reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made divorce legal in our religion. Because sometimes there is no way out, no exit. You try once, twice, 10 times, 100 times, but in the end, all your attempts fail. The man is not beyond any repair. He is very abusive. Unfortunately, there are some people, who are abusive. And no matter how much you preach to them, you admonish them, you do sessions for them, anger management, it doesn't work. The man has a mental issue. So there is no way to help this guy. I told her, go ahead and divorce. Say, divorce? I said, yes. Yes. I'm against divorce. I am against divorce, adamantly against divorce. But there are certain situations where there is no way out at all other than seeking divorce. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran indicates that He does not tolerate extreme hardship for people. مَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Allah does not accept extreme hardship to be imposed on any person. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به. My Lord, don't let me handle more than I can. This is what the Quran says, speaking on your behalf, on my behalf. If something beyond my capacity, my mental capacity, Allah doesn't tolerate it. Allah doesn't want me to endure it. So I told her, go ahead and seek divorce. Don't give in to the pressure. For how long you want to keep accepting, succumbing to this pressure and keep coming to me or to another imam or a sayyid or a sheikh and asking for advice? I run out of advice for you. You need to do something about it yourself. So my dear brothers and sisters, we have to always keep in mind that sometimes the key to our problems is in our pocket, but we don't see it. We don't see it. We are oblivious of knowing that the key to my problem is in my hand. But I don't have the courage. Sometimes I don't have the audacity to go and pick up the key and solve my problem. So the problem lies where? In me. I need to get that strength. I need to get that courage to take the step. The first step in changing my situation. إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Allah says in the Quran, I will not change people's condition until they themselves change within themselves. Allah will not help me overcome my marital problems until I have the courage to change my situation. Otherwise, if I choose to remain a victim forever and accept the abuse by my spouse, then Allah will say to me, how I'm going to help you? Help yourself so I can help you. Stand up for yourself so I can help you. For someone willing to accept the abuse of his boss at work and staying in an abusive relationship at work, Allah will tell that person, you help yourself first, stand up for your right, then I can help you. Then I will help you. But if I remain silent, I keep quiet the whole time, I don't have the courage to stand up and say something or do something about my situation, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to change my situation. So the first tip, my dear brothers and sisters, for changing our lives and stopping and putting an end for our frustration and disappointment is us not giving into the pressure. Don't let any person have the upper hand on you. Don't let any pressure get to the point that would make you unable to make a decision. Don't accept the status quo. Say to yourself, enough is enough, I have to do something about it. Number two, my dear brothers and sisters. Don't let any person or any idea dominate you and enslaves you. How? Let me explain. Sometimes, subconsciously, we subject ourselves to be slaves to certain people or certain ideas. The minute we pull ourselves out of that enslavement and get out of that bondage, you feel liberated. Let me give you some simple examples. Money. You know, many people around the world, Muslims, non-Muslims, they are nothing but slaves for money. Money is the driving force for them. They sacrifice everything in their life: family, religion, social relationship, even physical comfort for the sake of money. Working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. For what? For what? Can you convince me that I will not have a comfortable life in America until I work 16 hours a day for 7 days a week? That's not true. That's not true. And you can see many people work less and yet have a comfortable life. Not rich life, but comfortable life. But sometimes it is the greed, the love of money and cash that makes us be enslaved. You ask him, why don't you go to the masjid? My job, my work. No. Don't fool me. Don't deceive me. It is not your job. It is you being a slave of money. Seeking money and money and money. Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Friday, from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m., the guy is working. For what? Give yourself a break. Another example, my dear brothers and sisters. A lady, a sister, upon putting hijab, she said to me, Sayyid, before wearing hijab, I would spend average 2 hours a day before the mirror, making sure I have the appropriate makeup. I put the appropriate makeup. What does this tell you, my dear brothers and sisters? When I sit 2 hours before the mirror, making sure that my makeup is perfect, my manicure, pedicure is perfect. You help me with some terms. I don't know. I'm not so good in that. My nail polish is perfect. The way I look is perfect. My hair is dyed perfectly. You know, this is called an enslavement. I'm a slave of my look. I'm a slave of my look. I'm allowing my look to enslave me. I spend countless of hours just to make sure I look beautiful. But if you say to yourself, you know what, no matter what you do, you still look beautiful. You still look acceptable, whether you put your makeup or not. Whether you spend 2 hours behind mirror or 2 minutes, you're still okay. People will not throw you under the bus. People will not kick you out of the town. People will still accept you. If you change that mentality, if you liberate yourself from this bondage of how do I look, then you will be okay. Then you will not be spending 2 hours a day being obsessed over the way we look. But when we are so obsessed about the way we look, oh, my nose is big. I really need to go see Dr. so-and-so to make some surgery, plastic surgery for my nose. Let me ask you, 200 years ago, 100 years ago, what would people would do when there was no plastic surgery? What do? They do nothing. They do nothing. They just move on. My nose is big, let's say, my lip is not so nice. This is all in your brain, my dear brothers and sisters. It is all in my mind. When I liberate myself and I say, you know what? I'm still a good human being. Allah created me that way. Allah, not me. Allah created me that way. You will be happy with yourself. When I say to myself, the most important beauty is the inner beauty, not physical beauty. How many people, you look at them, they look physically beautiful, but inside they are nothing but wolves, but animals, selfish, arrogant, inconsiderate. What do I do with this beauty then, my dear brothers and sisters? But when I say to myself, the most important beauty is the cleanness of my heart, when I am humble, when I'm God-fearing person, when I reach out to the poor and to the needy, this is the real beauty. Who cares about the way I look? Who cares other than myself? So my dear brothers and sisters, this is something that many of us stuck with. Somewhere, somehow, we are nothing but in bondage of someone or some ideas. When my husband dominates my life, when he tells me Allah is in the sky and I am here on earth, and you have to accommodate me and your life has to revolve around me, and it gets into my head, now I start the journey of enslavement. I'm not advising ladies to rebel, to go against their husband, no. But I advise them to do this with dignity and respect, not to be his slave, vice versa. Don't let your wife dominate your life. Some people, trust me, some people, in order for them to go to the bathroom, they have to ask permission from their wives. If she says no, haram, he will be stuck. For the smallest thing they want to do, I want to give $200 to my sister who is poor, I have to ask my wife. Why should I ask my wife? My sister is my sister. What does it have to do with my wife? Sometimes when couples come to me seeking marital advice or marital counseling, the husband tells me, Sayyid, every time I give some financial help to one of my relatives, my wife makes an issue. I turn to her, is that true? Yes, Sayyid, yes. He cannot give anything to his, I need to know everything about his finances. Why you should know? Why you should know about everything? As long as he pays you, he takes care of you, he's paying all your expenditure, he's offering you a dignified life. Why you need to know about everything? He's not your slave. Just like you're not his slave. Marriage is not slavery, my dear brothers and sisters. But in this country, it's been turning into slavery. My wife needs to know every single detail about my life. Every single details about my finances. No, she doesn't have to. I need to know every single details about her finances. If she sent some money to her poor family in Lebanon, I will make a big deal. No, you can't do this. Well, if she is paying out of her own pocket, her own money, who am I to say no to her? She's not my slave. My wife is not my slave. I don't own her. So if she wants to decide on her own personal wealth, assets, it's not my business. It's not my business. Even if she does this despite my will. Yes, in order for her to use my money to touch my wallet, she has to ask for my permission. But say she works and she has her own income, who am I to tell her to give or not to give? Some people have an issue with that. The minute I allow my husband to dominate my life and to be my owner and my master, then I will have this problem. I will live a miserable life. But when I say, you know what, Mr. Husband, I love you, but you don't own me. I'm not your slave. There are limits on what you can say or what you cannot say. What you can decide for me and what you cannot decide for me. Then you will be liberated. You will not be as miserable. But when I allow someone, be it a husband, be it a son. You know, one time a man came giving some donation. And he says, Sayyid, don't mention my name. Please don't mention my name. I said, God bless you. I know you are seeking the reward from Allah and you don't want people to know. He says, no, that's not the point. I don't want my son to know. Because if my son knows, he will put me through hell. Why? Who is my son? Who is my son, honestly? Who is my son to decide for me? To tell me what to do? If I have raised a good son or a daughter, they should listen to me, not the other way around. They should fear me. They should respect me. They should give me a lot of consideration, not the other way around. If I want to use part of my own wealth, I have to go and ask permission for my son. Yes, of course, I will be miserable when I have such son or daughter or a husband or a wife. I only will be liberated when I put an end for that. When I tell them, you know what? No one in my life should dominate my life. Only one person. Only one person should dominate my life. And that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is my true master. He is my true owner. He is the only one I would allow to dominate my life and to decide for me. And I'm obligated to listen and obey. Anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? No. That doesn't mean I'm not going to love my son. Love your son. But don't treat him like your master. Love your wife, but don't make her your boss. Love your neighbor, your brother, even your father. Love anyone you want, but don't make any person dominate your life and be the center of your life. Our life should revolve around one center. Who that is? That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran is speaking in the tongue of Ibrahim. قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. My life, my death, my prayer, my rituals, all of those are dedicated for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the only dictator in my life. He is the only owner in my life. He is the only master in my life. I will not take no one else as my master. Yes, I respect other people. I love other people. I can be loyal to other people, but to a certain degree. The only one I should be loyal absolutely loyal, with no limitation, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The minute I replace Allah with any other person, I will live a miserable life. Trust me. The minute I replace Allah with any other person or any other idea, then I will live as a slave my entire life. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Number 3, listen to this, my dear brothers and sisters. Many of us have our priorities mixed up. Many of us don't know how to prioritize. The Prophet ﷺ gives an advice to Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. A beautiful advice. He says to Imam Ali, Ya Ali, إذا اشتغل الناس بالنوافل فاشتغل أنت بالفرائض. He says, when you see people getting busy doing secondary jobs, you do your main job. Many of us, instead of focusing on our primary job, we focus on our secondary job or role. Let me give you an example. I have God in my life. I have family in my life. I have my work in my life. I have my friends in my life. Okay? All those individuals take part of me. My wife, my kids take part of me. My family. My job takes part of me. My friends take part of me. So where do I prioritize? Who comes first? Who comes next? I need to be careful on that. If I mix up my priorities, if I put my social life before my family, I'm going to be miserable. And then I will feel I am in the black hole. See, sometimes when I get involved in marital counseling, one main complaint by many wives is my husband neglects the family. He does not come home early enough to sit with his wife and his kids. I turn to the husband. Is that true? Yes, Sayyid, that's true. Why? I need to see my friend. I go every night for a sahra and we sit for a couple of hours and we argue and we play cards, and that's very important for my mental health. I say, yeah, you're right. To have a relationship with your friends, to have some time for socialization, that's very important for our mental health. However, this should not come on the expenses of your family and your children. Give your family and your children the right time they need, then you go to your friends. Your family and your kids come first, your friend come second. If you mix up and you make your family and friends number one, your friends number one, your family number two, you will suffer. You will be better off treating your wife, your children as your priority. Spend enough time with your children. When my child needs my help in doing homework, don't say it's not my job. Go and help. If you can help, go help. Not to help when I am needed. Not to help my children when they need me. And going to a friend's house playing card or smoking argila is called irresponsible. It's called recklessness. When my wife and kids need me at home, when my kids need me for their homework, and I leave and I go somewhere else, sit at one of those lounges around the city, and argue till 1 a.m., this is not how I build a family. I will pay for this heavily, either by getting divorced, or maybe I may not get divorced, but I will not have a functional family. My kids need me. If they look around and I am not there, trust me, I will pay a heavy, heavy price. I will pay a heavy price. Some parents sit around and talk and have sahras with their friends, which is fine. But they don't know where their kids are. They are unaware their kids are somewhere else having time with their fellow and with their peers, using drugs, alcohol, consuming wine, messing around with other girls. Will I ever be proud of my kids? No. But who is pushing them? Who is creating this fertile ground for them? Me. By not focusing on my priority. By mixing up in my priorities. When I neglect my family and my children, then what do I expect? Do I expect them to be, my kids, to be Jesus Christ? No. Obviously, they will be a reflection of their own environment in which they were raised. So I should not blame no one but myself. The last tip, my dear brothers and sisters, be fair. Always be fair with others. In order for you to feel a comfortable life, void of stress and frustration, start with yourself being fair with others. What I mean by that is treat people the way you want them to treat you. When we gossip, when we backbite, sometimes we don't pay the closest attention to the fact that this is so damaging. Because the person involved in backbiting doesn't realize the damage he is causing. Do you know when we realize the depth of the damage our backbiting causes? When we become the subject of gossip. When someone gossips against me. When someone backbites against me, I feel the damage. You feel hurt, deeply hurt. Put yourself, every time you want to backbite, put yourself in the position of the person you are backbiting. You will never tolerate someone gossiping against you because it is very hurtful, deeply hurtful. If that is the case, then you do not gossip. If you don't want to taste the bitter feeling of gossip, then you don't gossip. If I don't want to be cheated on, I'm sure most of you somehow one day were cheated on by someone. And it feels very terrible when you feel you were cheated by someone. In order to avoid that frustration, that feeling, do not cheat at any person. You do not cheat at any person. Imam Ali alayhi salam one day tells his son, Imam Hassan, as he was raising his son, قال يا بني اجعل نفسك ميزانا بينك وبين الناس. Put yourself as a scale between you and people. اجعل نفسك ميزانا بينك وبين الناس. فرض لهم ما ترضى لنفسك واسخط لهم ما تسخط لنفسك. Accept for people that you accept for yourself. Hate for people what you hate for yourself. You hate to be cheated. Don't cheat. You hate to be lied at. Don't lie. You hate for someone to disrespect you. Then don't disrespect others. You hate when you see something treating you with arrogance. Then you don't be arrogant. You hate when you see someone treating other people with much selfishness. Then you don't be selfish. That is how you can bring peace to yourself, my dear brothers and sisters. When I always use myself as the scale. When I always treat people exactly the way I want people to treat me. When I always avoid doing things to others that I don't want others to do to me. Then you will have this inner peace. Then you will feel this serenity. And this, you will avoid and fight the frustration that may creep to you. When I learned that, to make myself the moral compass for what is good and what's not good, then and only then I will be able to live the peace. If I allow people to live in peace, then I will be able to live the inner peace. But when I always cause harm, insult, injury, causing mental scars for other people, I will never live the peace inside myself. Trust me. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك قاضي الحاجات إنك على كل شيء قدير. I just would like to announce that next Saturday, less than a week from now, at 11 a.m., actually at 10:30 a.m., we will be having a special session for sisters only sisters, from 10:30 to 12 p.m. here at IIA, inshallah. I will be delivering the speech and the Q&A afterward. So this is for sisters only. It is going to be in Arabic and in English as well. So I invite all our sisters for next week's Saturday at 11. Saying that, this doesn't mean we will not see you inshallah on Sunday. Inshallah we'll see you on Sunday as well. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين.